JP's morning brief for February 9th, 2026. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the podcast. It almost didn't happen, but because I about freaked out just now. So, if you don't know, when you use Rumble Studio and OBS, you got to start stream. You got to move my mic so it doesn't go red on me. If you have a hard time hearing me, just let me know. So I went to hit start stream on OBS. And then I went over here to hit start stream on Rumble Studio. And it said, oops, there's a problem. Please try again later. I'm like, what? And I tried it again. It gave me the same message. And I'm like, okay. So I hit the refresh button, and it went back to my startup screen. I'm like, oh, no way. So I entered back in, and it still had the same deal. And I hit start stream, and it worked. So I'm here. So we can talk. Thank y'all very much for tuning in. Oh, my goodness. Wow. I'm glad I didn't check my blood pressure because that would have been a bad time. Welcome to JP's Morning Brief for 2/9/2026. As we get started this morning, please give me a follow on that by clicking the follow button, and then also click like, which is the thumbs up button, and then share if you can, and then please engage me on the chat for the next 30 minutes while we explore some America 250 and a little bit of news to get it started on the day. I'll be raiding into Vince at 7 o'clock. I can't raid into Before the Noise because Chad Prather started 30 minutes ago. So I got to listen a little bit of him before I came in here to get started with y'all. And so let's get the day started before I run out of time because that usually happens a lot. All right. So let me get this stuff started right here. Right there. Nope. Go right there. All right. Okay, so I have America 250 for the 6th of February, 1776. It's a letter from Major General Charles Lee, the General Washington. My dear General, I've arrived here yesterday, but not without some difficulty. My disorder increased rather than diminished, so that I was under the necessity of being carried in a litter a considerable part of the way. I consider it as a piece of the greatest good fortune that the Congress have detached a committee to this place. Otherwise, I should have made a most ridiculous figure, besides bringing upon myself the immunity of the whole province. My hands were effectually tied up from taking any step necessary for the public service by the late resolve of the Congress putting every detachment of the Continental forces under the command of the Provincial Congress, where such a detachment is. I should apprise you that General Clinton arrived almost the same instant with myself. Wow, really? Okay, I'll get to that in just a minute. He has brought no troops with him. He pledges his honor that none are coming. He says it's merely to visit his friend Tyron. If it is really so, it is the most whimsical piece of civility I've ever heard of. He informs us that his intentions is for North Carolina, where he expects 5 regiments from England, and that he only brought 2 companies of light infantry from Boston. This is certainly a droll way of proceeding. To communicate his full plan to the enemy is too novel to be credited. The Congress Committee, man, oh wow. A certain number of the Committee of Safety and your humble servant has 2 conferences. The result of these conferences is such as will agreeably surprise you. It is in that first place agreed that justly to fortify the town against shipping is impracticable, but we are to fortify lodgements in some commanding part of the city for 2,000 men, are to erect enclosed batteries on both sides of the water near Hell Gate, which will water the double purpose of securing the town against piracies through the Sound and secure our communication with Long Island, and now become a more capital point than ever. It is determined to form a strong fortified camp with 3,000 men in the island, immediately opposite to New York. To pass in the Highlands is to be made as respectable as possible and guarded by a battalion. In short, I think the plan judicious and complete. The 2 brass pieces and other articles will be sent down as you require. Have you have heard of the fate of the cannon near King's Bridge? As I write with pain, you will excuse my abrupt conclusion. Yours, your General Charles Lee. Wow. Okay, that's a pretty important letter, because at first, when I was doing my research, I thought the letter I read that showed that General Lee and General Howe, both arriving in New York City, was a farce, and it was not very reputable. But General Clinton, I'm sorry. But the fact is, they did do that. And then he actually said that no troops were coming to New York City, which he flatly lied. And then he gave false intelligence, said all these other soldiers were going to North Carolina, which kind of was a lie. But why would you give intelligence to another general on the opposite side? So it was good that General Lee was skeptical about what he was saying, because you really can't trust a British officer, right? Especially back then. All right, so that was a really good letter. All right, so my next one. How'd y'all like that? Give me an American flag if y'all are watching this morning. Put the American flag in the chat, please. My next letter is for the 7th of February. This afternoon at noon, I will be doing the 8th and the 9th, okay? Because I got to catch up on these. This is the letter from Mercy Otis Warren to Abigail Adams. Just come to hand is a letter from my very worthy friend who I suppose is by this time arrived in Philadelphia, and another from his good Portia, which is Abigail Adams, whose mind seems to be agitated by a variety of passions of the noblest kind, a sense of honor, of friendship, of parental and conjugal affection, of domestic felicity, and public happiness. I do not wonder you had a struggle within yourself when your friend was called upon to be absent from his family in perhaps many months, but as you have sacrificed private inclination to the public welfare, I hope the reward of virtue will be your portion. I believe the person you consent should be absent from when you give himself a very little concern about the ill-natured suggestions of an envious world. I cannot think you have any apprehension of the whispers of malice will lessen the esteem and affection I have for my friends if she is unkindly brooding anything to her disadvantage. It has not reached my ear. When it does, I shall comply with your request and give you the opportunity you mentioned. Meanwhile, let me have an explanation of the source of uneasiness you hint at in yours. Follow my example and sit down immediately and write, and I will assure you of my convenience by a gentleman who I hope will call on you on Saturday on his way to visit to his Marcia. You may trust him with your letter though ever so important it may else be, you will venture to communicate. I want to know if certain intercepted letters of any consequence at Philadelphia was an umbrage taken by my genius, great or small. I wonder where Mr. Adams' letter has been for a whole month. It might have traveled to Quebec and back again since I wrote it. I began to think he was about to drop our correspondence, and indeed, I think I am obliged to you for your continuance, yet I have received the letter before him. He went off to, I believe, should have ventured to answer some of his queries, though they were not put to a manner serious enough for me to suppose he expected it. However, when you write again to make my regards and thank him on January 8th, my only fear of interrupting his important moments, preventing my doing it myself. But I think he has so many friends to correspond with that is rather calling him for more useful employment to attend to my interruptions. Yet this is a proposal in the way that set my pen to work again, perhaps before he returns. I am very sorry for the ill health of your family. Hope all is recovered. Do put them to mind for the affection of your friend in a way that's most pleasing to the little circle. It's almost finished. What has become of my Mrs. Lincoln? Do tell her I have patiently wished through the whole winter for the pleasure of hearing from her and her family. Do make them the best regards. I do wait. I write in a very great hurry, or should I touch a little on politics, knowing you love a little seasoning of the nature in every production, but it is too wide of a field to enter this evening, so I will wish that the acquisition of Boston and Quebec may be the opening of the year 76, an era of glory in the arms of America, and may hand down the name of Washington and Arnold of the latest posterity with the laurel in the bow. But I reverse, I tremble, I think of, let us forbear the name, and I will hasten to subscribe your name as an affectionate friend, Martha Warren. Mercy Warren, I'm sorry. Well, it's really cool. I was wondering about this, but I see now because it mentioned 1776 as an era of glory in the arms of America. That's why they included this in founders.gov. Okay, that's pretty cool. All right. Hold on just a second. Hope everyone's enjoying the letter. Let's see. A little bit of sponsorship real quick. Here's my deal for the Dalmatian Texas burgers. There are smash burgers made here in Copper's Cove, Texas. They make hot dogs also. Here's their menu right here. They're located on the west side of Copper's Cove behind Bush's Chicken. And they're open today on Monday from 11 to 2. All right, unless they sell out. They won't be open tonight. They're only open on Mondays for lunch, all right? So give them a try. What are we looking at? We're already at 6:44, so we gotta get. All right, so I'm gonna touch on this real quick. The Super Bowl. Super Bowl was last night, and unless you lived under a rock, the Seattle Seahawks won 29-13 against the New England Patriots, which I don't even think they showed up. We watched a little bit past the second half of the game to the end, and then it was decent. It was like a defensive game until the fourth quarter, and then it just blew apart. But I guess it's football for you. The best team wins sometimes. So at halftime, the NFL had their NFL show, and then we won't even talk about that because it was pathetic. Turning Point USA had their alternative it was called the All American Alternative Halftime Show, and so it was a total of an hour and 17 minutes, but there was a lot of promotional programming in it, which was really good. And then for about I think it's 38 minutes of the actual halftime show, which is more than what that regular NFL shows, right? But 10 million people watched it live, and then another 25 million people watched it on video on demand. You're looking at an audience of 35 million people. That is awesome for something that came about 2 months ago as a response to them putting that Puerto Rican. Okay, I know a lot of Puerto Ricans and are great people. This person is not a great person. There was, but I think it was Jack Persobic. I think he's the one who did it. I can't remember, but they. What was I going to say? They announced that they're going to do it again next year, and it'll be a lot better than it was this year. And they dedicate it to Charlie Kirk. Matter of fact, the quote is, "This one's for you, Charlie." And they went from there. They started out with Brantley Gilbert and his band playing the national anthem only on guitar, which was really cool. And then just kept going to, I forgot what the girl's name was, and then Lee Brice, and then Kid Rock. And at the very end, Kid Rock used his real name, Robert Ritchie, as to sing a song called "Till You Can't." And what was "Till You Can't"? If you recognize the song, it was actually sang by Cody Johnson about 4 or 5 years ago. But Kid Rock amended the song and re-recorded it and put it out, and it's out on where you can download music now, right? Because it's called "Till You Can't." It's really touching song, right? So was Lee Brice. Lee Brice sang a brand new song also. So there was some good stuff that came out of it, all right? But we'll get more into that this afternoon. I'll put that down over here. So one thing that came out, two of the big news that came out already, was Department of Homeland Security escorted a senior Customs Border Enforcement employee out of the office and door of their building Friday or Saturday, on Thursday. I'm sorry, I'm looking at it now. On Thursday, for leaking sensitive information about their operations. It's bad enough you got these Joe civilians out there doing license plate readers and doing these illegal doxing operations they're doing. Now you got some people inside the administration that are doing the same thing. And he got caught and he got fired. I just wish they would identify the guy. The Department of Homeland Security fired a senior Customs and Border Protection official on Thursday after it was revealed that the officer had been allegedly leaking sensitive information, sensitive personal information about CBP personnel, as well as negotiations regarding the border wall to the press, sources within the department told Fox News Digital. The official, who was unnamed, was marched out of the CBP office on Washington, D.C. after DHS discovered the leak, sources said, as DHS law enforcement officials face 8,000% increase in death threats. Leaking law enforcement sensitive information is abhorrently dangerous, A spokesman told Fox News, DHS is agnostic about your standing, tenure, political appointment, or status as a career civil servant. We will track down leakers and prosecute them to the fullest extent of the law. The news comes just days after Fox News investigation uncovered an underground communications network being used by anti-U.S. immigration enforcement agitators across the country. Tactics include doxing agents and tracking license plates and releasing personal information about agents. And Fox News also learned that 13 database systems are now known to store the data, which includes personal information as well as photographs, uniform details, and behavior patterns, phone numbers, and other sensitive items. And Kash Patel said they're investigating the now known Signal messaging network on their chats and have allowed agitators to communicate with them to confront federal agents in Minneapolis and other cities across the country. And it says it is unclear whether the officer who was fired on Thursday had any involvement in the Signal Group activities. They'll find out. As sources, DHS could only confirm the leaks to the press. All right. That's how you get federal law enforcement people killed. All right. Unbelievable that happened, man. We're at 6:51. Okay, so we'll go over this one. Jasmine Crockett says some Republicans could absolutely vote for her in a general election. How about that, us Texans? Are there any Texans on here? So give me a comment or give me a live chat or both. Do you think Jasmine Crockett could actually garner Republican votes in a general election? She'll never get one from me. At all. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. Never. Man. I'm going to go back over this one later because this is just our morning brief. Jasmine Crockett asserted that some Republicans would absolutely vote for her in a general election as the freshman congressman battles to become the state's Democrat nominee for the Senate. During an appearance on M. Snow the weekend, that'd be MS now, but I call it M. Snow, Crockett was asked by a host, Michael Steele, that's a turncoat Republican, whether Republicans could be convinced she is the representative they need in Washington if she were to reach the general election. And then she said, oh, absolutely. Now, Michael, you can talk about this a little bit more because I think Democrats have a perception of what Republicans want. And she argued that Republican voters aren't looking for someone that is Republican-like. And if they were, they would just go and get the real thing. Okay. Yeah, we'll talk about more of this later. Alrighty. And then also, as we are running out of time, Federal Appeals Court on Friday upheld President Trump's mass detention policy, allowing illegal immigrants to be detained without bond. All right. The Fifth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals ruled 2-1, saying that the Department of Homeland Security can lawfully deny bond hearings to immigrants arrested nationwide under the Constitution and federal immigration law. Attorney General Pam Bondi reacted to the ruling, saying that the Department of Justice secured yet another crucial legal victory in support of President Donald Trump's immigration agenda. That was a very good ruling. If you did not know, that is the Fifth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals is located in New Orleans. All right, so we'll go more into detail and stuff after the what do you call it? At 12 on the JP8 report. Hopefully y'all listen to it or watch it today. Give me a like and give me some American flags in the chat if you're watching. So my next thing I want to show y'all is some local upcoming events. We have tonight we have a forum in Gatesville at the Gatesville Civic Center at 6 o'clock with Republican candidates at 6 o'clock in Gatesville. And then dates to know on here is the 17th to the 27th is early voting for the primary. March 3rd is the primary. And then May 26th is the runoff election. All right, if there is one. All right. You can go back, get set. And then the next thing I want to talk to you about is, as we are like running quickly out of time, is about our Lincoln Reagan dinner, which is going to happen in 2 weeks, a little bit less than 2 weeks. We got tickets available still. There's still some. I mean, I saw about 6 pairs of tickets sold on Friday and Saturday itself. So it's going to close out. So if you want to come to the Lincoln Reagan dinner, it is going to be February 21st at 6 p.m. in Gatesville, Texas, at Texas Station Event Center. As you see on here, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick is going to be the featured speaker. The tickets are $60 a person, or you can get a couple's ticket for $100, or you can still buy. We have like 1 table left on the preferred tables, and we got a few tables left on the bronze, silver, and gold tables that all go sponsor activities for the Coryell County Republican Party. You get your tickets by going to the QR code on the bottom left-hand corner of the page. That's only if you're watching by desktops, because you can scan the QR code. All right, and then also if you're on a mobile phone, if you look on the bottom, if you look on the show notes I got posted on the bottom part of the show notes is a web link right there. You just click on it. It'll go strictly to the location where you can buy tickets and stuff. So hopefully some of y'all that are watching locally and want to hear Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick speak, buy your tickets. Come on and enjoy yourself. We're having steak, and we're having steak and chicken and some other stuff. We have a live auction that's going to go on. We have a cupcake auction also, and some silent stuff. Just come on out, have fun, man. We are 1 minute away, so I'm gonna raid to Vince in just a minute. And thank y'all very much for tuning in today. And hopefully, as one last comment, which I got some of the stuff done I wanted to talk about, the president is going to be talking more about the SAVE Act that needs to be passed. 83% of Americans want voter ID to vote with, and he's going to meet with Bibi Netanyahu on Wednesday. Okay, so thank y'all very much for tuning in this morning. I will see y'all at 12 o'clock. Okay, so I'm going to hit the raid button. Thank y'all very much for tuning in this morning. I will catch y'all on the flip side. All right, there we go. And initiate the raid. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. See y'all. Bye.